was scrolling down my YouTube videos here, and I've seen that I talked about a lot, but surprise, really surprised to me that I never faced it with you. Let's say the concept of the mind. And today I'm gonna share with you some content about our mind, how it works, how it's divided, and the features of the mind, and how can affect us one type of the mind and the other one. We have two areas of the mind that one affect, of course, our life in every aspect. So let's say concept of the mind. The mind is divided in two areas: conscious mind and subconscious mind. Conscious mind is the rational area of the mind. It's interact to the outer world through the five sensory factor, and it's the part of the mind related with thinking, reasoning, while the other part of the mind is the subconscious mind. It's the emotional mind. In there we have our limiting belief, our belief in general, that most of the time are limited belief, and we have emotion, feeling, we have creativity, we have intuition, we have the spiritual connection, and it's the part of the mind that it's almost made the whole concept of the mind. Let's say, I'm gonna explain a little bit better because I was just rolling down my words. Let's compare, as Freud said in his time of study and practicing. Freud compared the mind with a big iceberg, and in which we have I'm gonna show you. Maybe I can show you. Let's say, maybe. Let's see. Okay. You see, we have the iceberg. The top of the hill, the part outside the water, it's represent the rational area, the conscious mind, while the biggest unseen iceberg represents the subconscious mind. More or less, let's say that we have 10% made by conscious mind and 90% made by subconscious mind. And this is quite interesting, because if we think that with our willing power, with the willingness to do something, the idea that rationally we can achieve and move something in our life, we are going to make a big mistake, because as you can see, it's just an intuition. The biggest part of the mind that is what drives our life, and this is the subconscious mind. So if this one is represented by our thinking, reasoning, willingness, of course, the willingness to do something, this one, the biggest area, unseen area, it's our subconscious mind, drives our life, it drives our circumstances, drives our outcomes. So, little example how subconscious mind works. First of all, I wanna say that we have the opportunity to understand how our mind really works. But suggestion is don't take this for truth. I mean, you know that now you are thinking this guy is crazy. No, be skeptical. Be skeptical and then develop curiosity. If you are skeptical, you're going to deepen the topic. You're going to dive deep in all those areas and you're going to understand being self-responsible of your own life. You're going to understand what is the truth, because what I'm sharing it's something that is my experience, my knowledge, of course my study, but they are mine and I'm sharing with you. So sharing with you means that you shouldn't take as the truth, as the Holy Bible. Let me pass this statement. You should be skeptical and think, okay, this guy is saying something like that. I don't believe too much. Let's deepen the topic. Is there? This is the moment. This is the trigger in which you start to make your change, start to understand and start to work on yourself, because the triggering unleash in yourself the power of belief that something is possible for your life, different for your current results. And this is a great I highly suggest to understand my suggestion, to understand my position. Be skeptical but curious. And these are the two most components that are going to trigger and unleash the power within you, the power of believing within you that something is different from your current results is possible. Then let's say that conscious mind is developed around 7 years old, and while we develop our 5 sensory factor and we start to accept things, I like this, I don't like that, I don't want this, I don't want that. This phase of age is showing the developing of a kind of independence of judgment. Something like that I talk about in different video, but the whole concept of the mind, no, not yet. While subconscious mind is born with us, and in the moment the rational, I just smile because I'm just thinking I was how this concept once digested triggered my and unleashed my real power. I was just thinking, sorry, I was just getting back at this time. The subconscious mind is born with us, and until the conscious one is developed, we are at the mercy of everybody. So everything is going to be placed in there, and mostly by our loved ones, by our parents, grandfather, grandmother, and by our family, because they love us. They try to educate us, of course, but they try to base it on their belief. They educate us and place some kind of belief that become our way of being. It's something that there is no blaming anybody. It's just the process, the life process, is the way life goes. So in the moment that the conscious mind is developed, it becomes a kind of a filter between what happened outside the world to the inner world. So we have a filter, so through the conscious mind that can accept or reject everything, we have this kind of filter to make all in place in our subconscious conscious mind everything. But the work is done until this 7 age area, and how we can solve all that, I'm gonna tell you, but it's not the only moment that somebody else can place in us some kind of limiting belief. And in a few 11 minutes, I think this video is gonna be longer than the usual, but stick to it. Once our subconscious mind is at the mercy of everybody, let's make an example. For example, we are in the kitchen, our mom is trying to prepare our meal, for example the meal in general, and there is a knife on the table. So I'm going to take a knife, being a child, 4 or 5 years old, like something like that. Being a child, I take a knife, and at this exact moment my mom screamed at me saying, "This is dangerous, pay attention, don't do it anymore," something like that. Because the knife is something that make hit somebody else's, and you can hit yourself too. So the screaming create, of course, a kind of emotional shock in me that create on its turn a kind of a cellular belief. And maybe when I became adult, for example, around 20 years old, I developed some kind of a phobia. For example, I have the phobia to the obsession to see knife on the table during the meal. I can't go out to meet my friends to take a pizza, for example, or a dinner or lunch with my friends, for example, because in the restaurants, in the local, there are knives on the table. So I start to have a kind of some panic attack. I start to sweat, for example, and I don't understand why all is happening to me, because I'm thinking, damn, it's why I'm not normal like everybody. It's normal for me that it's normal that there is a knife on the table, because we need to use it for the meat, for the bread, for something. So this is a useful tool for the meal of the individual. But I don't understand why I unleashed this. I developed this obsession, this problem. Why my friends not? And so this was this limiting belief, maybe this shocking creative of emotion at that time, 5 years old, when this happened with my mom. They create a kind of limiting belief in me that unleashed this aspect, behavioral aspect of my person. And this is my way of being, and I don't understand what happened to me to be a guy, something like that, a guy like that, different from others. But this blockage spread its power under a featural, behavioral aspect of the person. So I developed this feature, and I developed this problem because I can't live like with a kind of self-esteem, a level of self-esteem leveled, because I feel different. I feel weird because I have to. I prove. I feel something strange while I am in the presence of the knife on the table at the meal with the friends. So it's everything is blocked for me. My life is have a kind of a barrier, and this is how it happened. A limiting belief that developed to an individual. For example, there is another possibility to develop limiting belief, to be installed by someone else's limiting belief. And we have two cases in which this can happen when we are adult. The case is when we feel pain, and are emotional pain or physical pain. So in these two cases, we disable for a period of time, we disable a rational area of the mind, the conscious mind. So we are again like a child at the mercy of others, because if something happened, can be placed in me some limiting belief that I don't know I can be developed later in future. Example, okay, I'm driving my car, I make an accident, I hit my head on the window, I just bleeding, but just lose my sense, and losing my sense, I don't understand what's going on because the rational part of the mind is disabled. But be careful, the subconscious part of the mind is 100% working. So all around me it's working, and pay attention to what happened all around me. And for example, is coming a lady screaming, "Oh my gosh, this guy broke his head, is dying, call the ambulance," something like that. Okay? Now ambulance is coming, I'm still in my lost sense, and then when I recover at the hospital, after a while, a period of time, we don't know how many period of time, maybe 1 month, maybe 6 months, we start to feel headache. During a day, a beautiful day, a joyful day, a wonderful day, sunny day, nothing happened to us, we have a headache. And we start to develop this fear, this headache frequently. We take medication, but nothing happened, and we start to think, I start to think, oh, gosh, what's going on in me? I was feeling good. Why it happened to me? Just to start to questioning yourself and saying, why this headache if I feel good? You start to take some kind of visit to understand if something happened in you, but everything is fine. But you, with medication, you still have your headache. And this is something that limits us, because we don't understand what's going on. But maybe there is a kind of hypnotic command that unleash this limiting belief and unleash my headache. Maybe there is in my environment, there is maybe in a little far an ambulance waiting, and maybe I don't take care because I have my phone, I'm texting somebody, I call on my phone and talk on my phone with somebody else's, but there is in my environment this wailing of the ambulance. So, boom, my headache is unleashed. The ambulance that came to recover me at the accident, while this woman said, oh, this guy is a broken head, is dying, always bleeding, and this create a kind of hypnotic, maybe hypnotic command, because my rational mind was disabled. So this is the main part of our mind, the subconscious mind, that drive our life, because it's we are afraid to do something new, that we have the willingness to achieve something, but we are afraid because we are uncertainty. We show some kind of uncertainty. We have doubt because we never achieved something different. And be careful, be careful. It's not the willingness that drive the results of our life. It's the feeling of the uncertainty. It's the feeling of doubting. It's the feeling of being afraid that maybe we will try. I hope so, that something new happened. This feeling drive the circumstances of our life and give us the usual results. Not the willingness forcing us to do something different, because with the willingness we want to go in that side, but the feeling of our subconscious mind that we don't understand let us go in the opposite way to reach always the same kind of results. There is a solution for something like that? Of course there is a solution. There is a solution because any process in our brain can be reverted. It's a revertible process. It's related, all the emotion, all the belief are related with the neuronal connection in our brain. Of course, we have a well-known channeling of neuron connection because it's this kind of limiting belief developed, made by let's say external circumstances created this kind of well-known neuronal net. But we can build one. We can build one absolutely. We can build everything different, disabling we need time. Because it's not overnight, but we can disable this kind of connection, and we can enable more and more the new one, making new routine, making new work, making new belief, because working in a certain specific way let us raise our belief that something is achievable, something is possible. So it's absolutely fantastic that we can reach our desired outcomes. Hopefully this was really useful for you. I hope that I make everything understandable. It's longer, this video is longer than the usual, but I think it's quite important to understand, be skeptical and curious at the same time, because you are the artist of your life. So thumbs up, please share this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and see you on the next one.